It's not even about our cider. It's about the whole collaborative community around cider in Vermont. Get more local people to try our cider and be like, oh, this is really cool. And these apples are from here. Great.
Hello, my name is Ria Wincaller, and I am the producer and cider MC of this weekly podcast, where we speak with makers, cider enthusiasts, and folks within the cider trade from around the world.
Hip, hip, hooray!
Bringing us into episode number 465 of Cider Chat with Kyle Doda. He was talking about the community surrounding cider, that's just as equally important. It's kind of giving this sense for the region where this particular cider house is located, which is Brookfield, Vermont. And if you don't know where that is right off of an interstate highway called 89, up in the middle of Vermont. So you have Burlington, Vermont, which is bordering on the east side of Lake Champlain, about an hour south, I'm going to say, of the Canadian border. And then if you take a diagonal drive down east towards a place called White River Junction, where I met up with last week's guest on episode 465, that was Dan from the Czech Republic. Well, in between White River Junction and Burlington, Vermont, is a place called Brookfield, and it's super cool. We'll talk a little bit about that. I'm going to tell you about my drive going there as I kind of relay it back to Kyle. And you could have this really full, immersive experience. They have both veggies and livestock. They grow mushrooms. They have a whole dedicated mushroom room, and that was amazing to be in too, because I also have grown mushrooms over different times in my life. And now they have a seasonal restaurant and tasting room, and it doesn't seem like they're stopping anytime soon. Like, this is just getting going, and we're all the better for it, because the cider is really great, and I had a nice time really immersing myself with the conversation you're going to be hearing. And then there's going to be a bonus episode where I'm just hanging out with Kyle in the barrel room, and we're going through how to deal with a stuck fermentation. And these are all oak barrels that he's dealing with there. So that's going to be coming out next week. Even though I'm on my summer schedule right now, which is every other week, I've thrown in a little bonus right in the middle, smack in the middle of July here. When this episode's going live, we're going to be seeing this live on July 16th. And you may be hearing this in the future, but I wanted to, keep the folks who are kind of thirsty for more cider. And definitely there's a lot of technical folks who just really enjoy kind of conversing. I have this cool extra bonus that I recorded the whole time we were in the barrel room, talking about some blends that had a lot of Ashmead's kernel and Dabinet. So that's going to be coming out next week. So that'll be released to the Cider Chat Patreon page, all the folks there who are helping to keep this podcast rolling out each and every week through their good cheer and financial support through all these different tiers. But this one's going to be kind of a special one, so I think it's going to be going up to the $3 and up level. $3. What can you lose? Monthly for $3 in Cider Chat? Dang, that's a good deal. I've been conversing with Kyle over, I don't know, it seems like a couple years now, and to finally get up there was fantastic. In fact, it was he and the folks at Frosty Twig and Canton Apples and Carl and his family at the Inn at Lake Champlain. They hosted me there. It was just so fantastic. I think I want to back up. Dan from Prague, telling us about the Czech Republic. All these people that I was talking to in different conversations just comes together that way, and it's the best. I mean, that's why we stay connected, and I think that is why you are listening. So, anywho, all these folks, probably some I'm missing, I'm sure. They know I love them, and they all inspired me to take a cider tour this past May, and so this is part 2 of that cider tour that I took up through Vermont, going up to the Canadian border, and then down into north of upstate New York. So, yeah, you're in for a ride here this summer as I'm taking you along on my cider tour. That's what's up ahead. We're going to be going through a whole tasting. I think it was about, let me see, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different tastings during the actual interview. And we talked about, how they're pairing that with food, and also looked at a graph, which is a cider beer hybrid that was aged in oak. Super delicious. I am actually finding more and more graphs that are really well made. And I want you to just, if you're not familiar with that term, it's spelled GRAF, graph. And that's just a slang kind of, or a style, I should say, for a cider and beer blend. Yeah, so there's that. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I'm excited to share it with all of you out there in Ciderville. So do stay tuned for that. That's going to be the feature. But meanwhile, we have a wee bit of news from out and about in Ciderville. But just wait a minute for a second. Plums, what's with all the bubbles? Do we need all these transitions?
Yes, indeed, Rhea. We found some of the archived intros to Cider Chat from over 10 years ago.
Roger that, Perry Pears.
Ah, I see. So you're just kind of playing with it and throwing it in just 'cause? Well, okay. Everybody out there in Ciderville likes bubbles too, so enjoy, but not too much, okay?
Shall we move on?
Yes, Mr. Quince, let's. This here episode is going live right smack in the middle of July 2025, my favorite time of the summer because I just love marking the time. We're kind of starting to tip towards the fall, which means we're also tipping very quickly towards the upcoming Totally Cider Tour to the UK. And that's just taking place in a couple short weeks here, where I will be meeting up with folks from the US, Canada, Hungary, and Australia in the West Country of the UK. Oh my God. When I say that to myself, it's like I can't believe it. So I hope that never changes for me, because the excitement that is building as I've been working behind the scenes on my weeks off, focusing on the tour, making sure that everything is just wrapped up nicely. So when we arrive, it's just fun. And I'm telling you, it's wrapping up really nicely. Super stoked. Our first day, we're going to be heading to the Showering Mill. This is the second largest cider mill in the United Kingdom. It is now once again owned by the Showering family. This was an original site for the family. They have a baseline of being there for 400 years when a Showering ancestor had like a little shop across the street in that same location where the mill is now. And they didn't start making cider commercially right away, but they've been doing it, getting closer to almost like 200 years now. So they are thick into it. This is feels like a multinational, but it's a family-owned business. You have the 4 main brothers, and then you have their kids, and I had one of their kids on, and he's actually an adult, and his name is Nick Showering, and he's at the helm of Showering's Triple Vintage. This is a cider that just came out just the past couple of years and really is a lovely, lovely rendition of Somerset apples. So yeah, that was a great conversation. Definitely check out that episode. And I also had the pleasure of spending the day and recording an episode with Showering's cider maker, Bob Cork, who's been there for 40 years. He's retired, but as many of us who just love cider, we just can't get away from it. So he's the one who brought me on a tour last October at the mill. Blew my mind walking around. I've never been in such a big cider mill. It just was crazy making just to see how that's done and how efficiently that is done, because they have multiple brands, right? They also, I think, do some contract fermenting. And yes, it's like industrial cider. They have the Brothers brand, super wildly popular because there's a whole group of folks who love sweet cider. And of course, the Showering family is renowned for their baby sham. All on that one day, we're going to go from the extreme of the Shepton Mallet Mill, the Showering Mill. We'll then meet up with Neil Worley and Kim of Honey Cider. So Neil has Worley Cider. He's won a mega award for his Keef cider. And Honey, well, that is a delightful cider too. We're going to be having lunch at that spot. And then we're going to be heading to the Cider King himself, Roger Wilkins, at a farm that you would remember. It's called Land's End. kind of feels like you have fallen off into another world when you get to Land's End Farm. So that is just day one from like the mega cider mill to Rogers Cider Mill, which is equally as famous, I would say, as Showring's Mill at this point. It's just a touchstone for folks to go to. And that's, once again, day one. So if you got a bit of FOMO, I get it, because if I was hearing this tour and I wasn't going, I would be super bummed. But you know what? There's always a chance for other opportunities in the future, and this will not be the last tour. So if this interests you and you want to get on the wait list for the next upcoming Totally Cider tour out and about in Ciderville, well, do send an email today to info@ciderchat.com and just say, put my name on the wait list. All right. One more thing. When I come back, we're going to be going to a letter from a new patron of Cider Chat. Getting back to Stephen, he wrote about finding the podcast itself. He needed to start exercising after surgery, but didn't like the idea of wasted time, and wrote, I don't usually listen to podcasts. I don't even use a cell phone, but thought maybe that's how a normal person might use his time productively. So he searched a little bit for something on cider, and Cider Chat was the first thing that he found. Now, he writes, I'm listening back through all the episodes while I bottle, press, while I bottle, process, press, clean, and all things in this tiny cidery. And that is a lot of episodes to go back into. So you and Adrian of Hard Cider Guy fame, you're in it. And I know there's a lot of people who go through the back episodes because it's evergreen. Yeah, it's evergreen, and it's the history of the modern cider now in the world. Stephen's journey began with grocery stores brands back in Iowa around 2006, names like Woodchuck, Hornsby, and Angry Orchard. And then after moving to Seattle in 2007, he spent a decade homebrewing before slowly rediscovering cider. He started pressing his own fruit, first with Braeburn, which is a particular type of apple variety. He got that from a U-Pick orchard, and later from foraged apples and pears in yards across Seattle. He writes, I love being able to make something from start to finish. Unlike brewing beer, where growing and malting my own grain felt out of reach, with cider, I could harvest the fruit myself. I'd pick windfalls and clean up people's yards. It felt like I was using something that would otherwise go to waste. Stephen's process evolved over time and always with intention. He still forages all his fruit and uses whole adjuncts in his cider. He has no brought-in juice, no filtering or pasteurizing. Wow, this sounds like a pretty amazing cidery, right? Everything he makes, from small batch cider to the occasional homemade root beer, comes from hands-on effort, deep curiosity, and respect for the ingredients. In 2001, he officially founded Wolfkin Cider, one of the smallest commercial cideries you'll find, producing just a few hundred gallons a year. In 2022, he and his family bought 19 acres about an hour outside of Seattle to start planting trees. Nearly 100 of them so far, including European and Asian pears, Perry Pears, and dozens of apple varieties. I think I have around 60 different types in those 100 trees, he writes. It's a scattershot approach, but I'm learning what grows well and what I like. I honestly love picking, pressing, and drinking 100% Asian Perry. I like it. If it doesn't go off, the range of flavors can be so interesting. And you know what he means by if it doesn't go off. If it doesn't go rogue and turn to vinegar or something, yeah, those flavors can be interesting. That's really cool to hear about the Asian Perry pears. And also, you should know, Wolfkin does sell their cider now. You can find it in the Seattle area. So definitely keep an eye out in farmers markets, wine walks, maybe even at the Cider Summit that our friend Alan Shapiro puts on. So if you're near Seattle, keep an eye out and support this small but mighty maker. As for style, Stephen says he enjoys a flavorful modern cider, dry perries with tannin, interesting adjuncts, and anything barrel-aged. He's happy to sip most things, but he still prefers cider with a little bit of carbonation over still. And when it comes to Cider Chat, he's mostly drawn to the deep dive. So that means next week's bonus episode specific for patrons of the podcast is going to be right up your alley. And definitely check out the logo for Wolfkin. There's a wolf and a kin. And I'll leave it up to you to find out exactly what that looks like. And when you see that, you'll be like, yes, there's a wolf and a kin. All right. Anyways, join Cider Chat. Be part of the folks who are part of the Patreon page. They're really awesome, helping support the podcasts. And we could use your support too if you haven't already joined. And yeah, we have that upcoming episode with Kyle. Moving on.
Walking through the orchards.
Up next is our featured presentation with Kyle Doda. This was a sit-down chat at the tasting room at 1000 Stone Farm. And on the table itself, he had brought out a number of different taste treats to try to pair with the cider. And I really want to say, I didn't hold back. I could tell Kyle was just a guy to deal with it, to be truthful. He wanted feedback. And I delivered what I could with a little bit of info I know about cider, and this guy is deep into it. So if you want some good conversation about cider, this is a place to go. If you want to experience a full complement of offerings at a farm, this is the place to go. And if you're in that region when it's open, do check out on Fridays and Saturdays the Farmers Hand Cider House and Kitchen. You're not going to be disappointed. That's where his wife, Betsy Simpson, is the chef. So let's all grab a glass now and join this chat with Kyle Doda of 1000 Stone Farm and the Farmers Hand Cider House and Kitchen based in Brookfield, Vermont. What kind of cheeses do you have?
It's a tome from a friend of ours in Chelsea.
Of
Vermont.
course, it's local Vermont.
Nuts also from a friend of ours in Woodchester. And some local pickles, bread and butter.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, since I drove up on this road, I want to give people a little imagery coming out here. I came south on Interstate 89, and you get off the highway and you go on Ridge Road. Absolutely spectacular. You're looking out, seeing that incredible mountain range that just goes on forever.
The Green Mountains, yeah.
And you go along on this road, and then you come to this point where you go on some dirt road, and there's a beautiful waterfall right behind this house, right in the center of like Brookfield.
That's Pond Village, where actually the only floating bridge, I think, on the East Coast right now.
And then you kind of make your way up, and you see this beautiful sign that says 1000 Stone Farm. And you pull in, and it has a listing of all the different services. We're here, we're in like the tasting room. It's a restaurant right next door to us, the kitchen, everything, beautiful taps, and this awesome table. So I'm super psyched to have been pulled back into Vermont, one of my favorite states to drive up into, and to meet you in person.
We're really glad to have you. Thank you.
Well, let's get into it. 1000 Stone Farm, what's that about?
My wife and I have been farming in Brookfield. This will be our 10th season. We've been doing the Burlington Farmers Market, as well as running a year-round CSA with about 100 families. And we have about 25 different wholesale accounts for our vegetables and our mushrooms. And we also have a farm store, which you would have saw on the way in, that's open every day of the year, 8 to 8. It's self-serve, and it's separate from the restaurant, obviously. And we started planting fruit trees 7 years ago or so, and a variety of plums and some apples and different things. And then we kind of kept planting different fruit, the majority being apples. And so I started thinking a lot about what I was going to do with these apples and fruit. I don't remember exactly when it started to happen, but I kind of stumbled upon some other ciders that weren't industrially made, as you had talked about, some more craft cider styles, and really enjoyed it. And then started to have this conversation internally about where the sugars are coming from for the fermentations that we're drinking in life. And as someone that does enjoy beer, I felt that a lot of the beer that I was seeing produced and also that I was drinking was made really, really quickly. And as somebody that is growing food for a living, specifically organically, just being really aware of the fact of industrial ag and what that looks like on the grain scene. And so that just kind of made me really think about, why wouldn't I start making my own hard cider?
So you didn't come in with the intention of making cider.
Not originally, no.
Just you saw the resources were there, and what am I going to do with it? And 7 years ago, 2018, right?
Yeah.
So there was cider happening in Vermont.
I just wasn't aware of it.
Right, and you're more of a beer drinker, or
Yeah,
well,
wine.
Vermont has good beer.
Yeah. They do. I do find also that like really hoppy beer that's not aged a lot really messes with my stomach. And so, personally, I just felt like
I see.
I was looking for something else to enjoy.
Here you are.
And here I am.
I know that Betsy comes from a culinary background.
Correct. So Betsy, my wife, studied at CIA for 4 years, Culinary Institute of America, and was teaching out in the Napa Valley campus, the Farm to Table program there. She also grew up in the town right next to us in Braintree on a large dairy farm. So she's been farming for her whole life. She loves it, as do I. But she also loves the kitchen, and now we love both. So now we love running our restaurant and tasting room, and we love farming.
We're in the tasting room right now, which has like a shed roof on it. What's the dimensions of this room?
The room that we're in is 22 by 30.
22 by 30, and it has a deck outside, which is south facing, right?
Correct.
And you have 4 greenhouses.
Correct.
What's in the greenhouses?
Right now, 2 of them are for propagation, so we have all the starts for the year going. And then the other 2 are early season tomato production, shishito peppers, and basil.
I saw your production room in the back. We're going to talk about your barrel program in a little bit. Then you took me into this other room, the mushroom room, which was just exotic. It's a groovy place to come to.
Thank you.
It feels like you're in the middle of nowhere, and now you're in beautiful La La Land for food and good libations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you opened the doors to the cidery in what year?
Last fall. So in November 15th of last fall, and we ran till Christmas. And then we went on vacation to northern Spain, to Basque Country. I can't wait to go back.
It's a mecca for cider.
And vermouth and wine, all of it.
Yeah.
We reopened actually in February 1st, and then we ran till the end of March.
That's an unusual time to kind of open in Vermont, but you must get skiers or?
No, most of a little bit,
Local?
but it's all locals. I mean, we're doing something that's pretty different than a lot of places. And so our community already eats our food. We already serve them food, right? But in a different way. And so now all of a sudden we got to cook for them. Everything that's on our menu, we grow, except for the flour, which comes from Nitty Gritty Grains in Vermont, an organic flour producer, and then the cheese, which is from Vermont. Wow. There's some random olive oil, balsamic, whatever, that kind of stuff.
But it's pretty damn local, the whole
Yeah, I mean, like as an example, I'm looking at the menu right now, like Lion's Mane crab cakes, for example. There's no crab. Lion's Mane crab cakes.
Why did I not wait to come here when the restaurant was open? Dang,
And then we also are doing pizzas, obviously with the pizza oven, but also then all our toppings are on there. But we raise meat as well, so we're raising lamb, beef, goat, and pork and chicken. Any of that meat is also from us.
Are you? How big is your staff to do all that? That's a lot.
So for a long time, the beef, lamb, and goat was raised at Betsy's parents' farm. Okay. Long story short, it's not anymore. They had to sell it, the farm. And so now we moved this winter. All the lambs are here with their moms. So we have like 50 sheep total with our chickens. There's 32 lambs, 18 ewes.
Who's counting after 24?
But to be honest, that's Betsy's side, and she does that with her parents' help. And then staffing-wise, we have me and Betsy, Stefan, who you met, who does mushrooms with us. I have Mark, who does pruning with me and deliveries.
Okay.
And then we have Howard and Baden, who work seasonally for most of the summer with us.
More the crops, the vegetable.
Yeah, they're mostly veg side.
Yeah. But what about picking all the apples and stuff? Are those?
So that we're doing like collaboratively, me, Howard, Baden. Maybe Mark would jump in. Yeah. I also have Nathan, who bartends with us and does help with cider pressing. Wow. And him and Sarah, his wife, own Hillside Botanicals over in Brookfield. They also propagate trees, so it all kind of works together. Like we have probably 60 different varieties of apples, and so he's able to use all this cyanwood to start. It's really been a lot of fun.
It's a real mesh of community. This is like a village to create
It's great.
the 1,000 Stone Farm. And are there 1,000 stones here?
1 million. We are on a ridge top, and so we're sitting at 1,400, 1,500 feet elevation.
Okay. The orchard's at 1,700 feet.
Mostly.
And what kind of soil are we talking up there?
This is all Buckland sandy loam, so it's prime ag soil classification in Vermont. pH at the low, 5, 8, but mostly like 6 to 7 not high at all. It's really right around 6.5.
Is the orchard high stem?
Everything is mostly planted on semi-dwarf or semi-standard. So everything we've either grafted or bought pre-grafted has been on like M111 or B118. There is some standard as well. And they're all spaced in row 15 feet, I would say. And then between rows, depending, we kind of have some different things going on up there, like two different styles of orcharding. One is basically just in pasture on a hillside, and those are all 30 feet apart rows, 15 in between, which I'm kind of tempted to put another row in, but for grazing for sheep, it would be nice to leave a little more space. But I'm running out of space to put apples. And then we also have rows interplanted into our 5 acres of production. And so if you can kind of visualize this with words, there's a row of apples that has a 20-foot wide swath. And so in the center of that swath is apples on center every 15 feet. So you got...
Kind of like staggered in between.
Just a straight line.
Okay.
And then there's 120 feet, and that's 200 feet long. So a 200-foot row, right? 20 feet wide. And it's grass interplanted with herbs and comfrey underneath and wood chip mulch. And then you have a 120-foot section that's for cultivation of vegetables. And then you have another row of apples. And so in that planting, we have 2 rows of apples, and then we have a row of peaches. We have 3 varieties of peaches, which did awesome last year. It was their first year of really coming into it, because the year before we had that really bad frost around May.
It's not easy to grow peaches.
No, and that's at 1,700 feet. We got about like 35 to 50 pounds a tree, 15 trees.
And just a side note here, Ciderville, Kyle showed me a whole barrel that is fermenting in the back that is 100% peach juice fermented. So like a peach cider, but no apples included. So
I don't know what you call that. It's not Perry.
It's a peachy.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean,
But
nothing better.
and then we also have plums up there as well, and then cherries and pears.
Oh, I was wondering about pears.
I've just started the pears. When I bought that acreage, there's actually 2 pear trees on it, maybe like a Bartlett or something. I've been grafting onto that. I put some Perry Pear cyanwood on there, and I actually have 40 Perry Pears that I'm putting in this year. So in 20 years, we grow a lot of currants. We have about 150 currant bushes, red, champagne pink, and black. And we have about 15 fig trees in one of our greenhouses, which we use for here as well as kind of a side project. So what we really want to do this year, especially with additional staff in the kitchen, is to have a processing component in the kitchen for value add for the farm. Pickles, not only for the restaurant, for the farm store, for the farmer's market, etc. And one of the things with the figs is that in some cultures, green figs are boiled and then preserved in honey or sugarcane. And like that on a charcuterie board or on a pizza or whatever you can think of, salad, I'm all about it because there's hundreds of figs. And we do get ripe figs. Usually Betsy eats them all herself
You can't blame her.
while she's harvesting. But
Hey, the girl deserves a break, right?
she does,
sounds
absolutely.
like you guys are both really enterprising. My goodness, this model is sounding a little bit like the Finger Lakes Cider House, which is a huge farming scene. And I'm going to just refer listeners to check out that episode and check out that Finger Lakes Cider House. But, on-site restaurant and even now lodging. We're seeing these really dynamic models of integrating the restaurant and the cidery and the vegetables and also livestock too.
our business model is set up so that we have a lot of streams of revenue, even though it can be tricky at times cash flow. You still have something doesn't go as well, your onion crop, this or that, you lose a batch of cider, you have some flexibility, and I think that brings a level of sustainability to a business.
Good point.
And that's why I feel like having the farming side already going makes the cider side easier to get going.
Yeah, well, that absolutely makes sense. And the fact that you both have farming in your lineage, so to speak. Certainly Betsy does.
Betsy does. I do not. I just fell in love with it.
And you fell in love with it at a time where we're really needing young farmers to come on board. It's critical.
Absolutely. I mean, as a side note, I'm the treasurer for the Burlington Farmers Market. I've been going there for 10 years, and we definitely are seeing, I would say across the state, but less young farmers coming into it and sticking it out, and it's kind of a bummer. because it is pretty tough to really get over the hurdles.
So what would you say to folks coming up the pike here who are considering farming as a profession?
It doesn't matter what job or career you choose in life. There's good and bad days. It's just how it goes. I just think that the good days are real good when you're farming. The bad days can also be real bad. But if you're someone that enjoys being outside and, in my opinion, not to sound cheesy, but, watching the magic, it's pretty phenomenal.
Yes.
And for me, my background is technically in sculpture. I studied ceramics for a long time. So it's just like sculpting this landscape in your own way while Mother Nature's telling you yay or nay, good idea or bad. Whether I'm planting fruit trees or crops or whatever it may be, I mean, it's still kind of the same creative sort of outlet and innovation. And I'm not really very good at sitting still. And so this works pretty well.
Well, there you have it. Go for farming if you want to make your life exciting and really bring quality to your life.
Absolutely.
You could feel it here in this room that we're in the presence of quality. So how does one blend a cider business and a restaurant? Because you probably want to sell cider all year long. The tap room's not open all year long. Possibly.
9 months.
9 months? I mean, that's not all year long.
No, it's not.
But, that's a good model to keep you sane.
As you know, we're in the beginning stages of this, and I'm obviously learning as I go, which is great on the fast track. But so a lot of reading, a lot of listening to you on your podcast. So a couple of things that we are doing. We sell wholesale cider in kegs to restaurants that we currently already sell vegetables to and mushrooms. My distribution is easy because I'm already going there. We already have the relationship, so they already trust that I would not give them a product that's not going to be good, that I don't feel good about. And we've been selling to most of these places for almost 10 years, 9 years, 8 years. So with that said, obviously there's new ones that come on, but having those relationships with who you're selling to is obviously very important. So wholesale-wise, we're not selling a lot.
How many different accounts do you have there?
That carry cider?
Yeah.
6.
Which is pretty good. Shrug your shoulders, but
Well, I don't know.
you got to know the territory here. Anybody who, like I was saying, I was coming up on Ridge Road.
That's a good point.
And it's very rural. I mean, I don't know if I even have a bar on my phone right now. So
you're in a metal building.
On the road here, I will not take it off a GPS because I know more than once in Vermont I can't get reception. So think about the territory.
It's true. And I mean, so, these places are in Montpelier, just north of us, and then also up into, running the 89 corridor up to Waterbury and then Burlington. And so that's our main distribution.
Fantastic. It's very active. It's lots of skiers, year-round tourism.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're right. 6 isn't nothing. I mean, we're not necessarily pushing it either. So
That's even better yet.
I'm not looking to sell more cider yet. We're trying to get our bottle program up and running. We've had a ton of customers over the winter. Where are the bottles? When can I buy bottles? And I've been promising everybody that they can buy them when we reopen in June. So I got to get on the labels, which is fine. So I think as far as integrating cider into a restaurant, when we were first designing this barn, which we had been designing for a number of years, this was going to be a shop for me to do tractor work.
Where we're sitting right now. It would make a nice shop.
It would make a nice shop. And I don't even have a shop for my tractor.
Oh, that's the worst.
Anywho, and then we were like, we'll just have a tasting room and people can buy bottles. And then we were like, well, we could just put in a full commercial kitchen. And then me and Betsy started talking about it, and I was like, do you want to do that? And we were like, yeah, why not? That's awesome. And we have a lot of food to play with. And so, as you know, November basically through the end of March, we were open with a break to go to Spain. 2 nights a week, or 2 days, I should say, Fridays and Saturdays, 1 to 8. Same menu for the whole day.
Probably packed in here
We were full every dinner for sure. Friday lunches were a little more chill. I think with the deck open in the summer, it could be a little busy. It'd be good though. Honestly, it was a wonderful experience, not only to talk about cider, but to talk about food and where your food comes from and where your cider comes from and community. And I had people coming from all over. I make cider at home, or, I have a bunch of apple trees. Do you ever want, so finding these. And then we've had some conversations about this other concept of like a community-based cider. And so basically people could barter by bringing in bushels of apples from forage trees we would do a one batch off and have this really fun sort of like, anyway, there's a lot of things that came out of the winter that were just really, really wonderful. And just seeing people like, they all know, people just know each other. It's like you pop in, you're like, oh, so-and-so's here. Oh, hey, can I join your table? Like, and just really great.
That's special.
It was really special. If I wasn't having a full-time farm, let's say, and I was a cider maker that was trying to get a little bit more direct retail sales, people to come to them, there are simple ways to do it. You could do just bottle pours if you wanted to. I think it can be tricky in the sense that you kind of open a glass or a bottle, you pour some out, that bottle might sit, the carbonation could change. So it's not a bad idea. I think that being on tap, as we have here, it's really nice and it is very easy. Obviously, there's not as much labor in bottling. The product's different, so to speak, maybe, or I guess technically, yeah. Even just having a small tap system. So I think personally, I would recommend going on the keg route and having it on tap. You don't even need to have a winterized space. It could just be through the summer. It could be once a month. It could be every 2 weeks. You could also work with a food truck to come out and do the food. You might not find that your profit margins are as big as you might want them, but you might find that it gets the ball rolling.
Yeah.
To get the cash flow together and to get...
And the cider going out the door.
Correct. And get people together in your community to taste your cider. I mean, one of the conversations that I have a lot with other cider makers in Vermont that is how do we get people to try more cider, right? Like, it's as a collaborative of small cider makers, how do we get them to just taste more cider in this genre of cider made like wine, if I were to talk about it, not like beer, non-industrial cider.
I know what you're talking. You're speaking to the choir.
Yeah.
All right.
How do we get them to try more of that? And so my opinion was to put it on tap. So if I sell a keg to a bar, even if I'm really not selling that keg at as much of a value as maybe I could if I was doing it here, obviously, it gets more people. It's not even about our cider. It's about the whole collaborative community around cider in Vermont. Get more local people to try our cider and be like, oh, this is really cool. And these apples are from here. Great. That concept is slowly coming in. And I think it's going to be really great soon.
I absolutely agree, because you can't have that with beer, even though Vermont's beer is pretty renowned in its own right. But with cider, or even the wine here in Vermont, it's all local and it's unique in this territory. So you're grabbing a glass of cider and drinking. I'm thirsty. Do I have the same thing that's in your glass?
You do. I gave you 3 different ones that are on the menu. And I've gotten a little upgraded with my naming of the ciders. I'm not the best at it. So on the menu, it just says volume 1, 2, and 3. And so for you, it's volume 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
And we have an off dry here.
Okay.
And then we have basically a dry cider as well as a dry cider. And so
I'm going to start with the off dry.
That's great.
This is volume 1.
Correct. And so that's a mix of local foraged apples and Liberty apples. It's going to be like 6.2%.
It's almost like I could smell the tannins. That excites me to take a sip. Now let's hope that the sip follows what I just smelled. Let my palate acclimate to it and then have another sip.
Now I want to have a sip of that.
You should. Now this is a quaffable cider. I could see that this would be kind of a dangerous cider for somebody to have because it's really easy to kick it back. It's creamy. Maybe a little melon. It's bright. The acid's well balanced. Really smooth, freaking great cider. Volume 1.
Tell you a little more about it.
I hope I'm right on everything here. Okay, go ahead.
So this was aged in barrel for 12 months. And
12 months. Okay, let's pause on that one. 12 months. That's a nice amount in a barrel.
In a neutral Chardonnay, like we talked about.
Yeah.
As you know, I shared earlier that I've fallen in love with some French ciders, and all cider in general. Part of my journey to learn about cider included drinking more cider. And so I've been getting quarterly boxes from Press to Press.
Oh, yeah.
And
Story and Eric.
been wonderful folks.
Yeah, they are.
Give them a shout out for sure.
Yeah.
And getting to try like a ton of different cider. Some like from Chile after I heard that interview.
Yeah, with
that
Eli.
was awesome.
Yeah. Good, good.
And I got a bottle
of a Punta de Fiel?
from them, I think. It was really cool. Oh no, not from them, but
from
a Chilean
another
cider.
Chilean maker. Yeah, I didn't think
which
they were
was
exporting.
honestly phenomenal. I was blown away. So,
Yay.
and then talking with my friend Simone at Scott Farm about how sugar in cider, residual sugar, is like salt on your steak. How it can add a level of complexity. It doesn't need to be like crazy sweet. So we had this 12-month aged cider, and that creaminess is kind of this butteriness that's coming from those barrels. And at the time, it was quite overpowering. And so we ended up, which I would prefer to be keeving cider. We ended up back-sweetening this with fresh cider from the next year. And so this got back-sweetened with a little blend of some higher acid and some Porter's Perfection apples.
Okay. Yeah.
Not a lot. I mean, it barely...
But you're not getting, like, you back sweeten it. And I want to say to folks listening, like, this is really well back sweetened. Because a lot of times when you have back sweetened cider, it takes away from the base of it.
Yep. I will say, I don't know how far you want to go into like technical stuff, but
Go, man. Go.
So one of the techniques that we use when we're back sweetening, and this is the only cider that we do back sweeten, and I'm going to probably do another batch of it because I really do like it, and I didn't get to keep any ciders this year, but I'm going to next year, is to filter the juice, the fresh cider after you press it, down through a 1 micron filter. So it's crystal clear. And then to push it in, you're also reducing your yeast count drastically. I don't know if people are aware of this, but my understanding is that yeast cells are between usually like 2 to 5 micron. And so you're not necessarily sterilizing the cider, you're not going down to 0.45, et cetera, but you are really reducing that. So you're stabilizing it. Then you're not really needing to like pasteurize it in some way because you're just pushing that right into the cider. And you actually get like a little carb out of it, not a lot, but you get a little. And it's interested me to move away for bottle conditioning into using fresh cider like that as the sugar source instead of like dextrose or sugar or something.
So is that what you did here? You put that apple juice through
A filter. And then in.
Yeah, that's what well, that was a good choice because it would have reignited it again and you wouldn't really know where it would take it necessarily, even if it's a subtle, the yeast starts chomping away again or some other rogue yeast takes over, that could have really changed it. So that's brilliant. And actually, Bordelais has played with filtration of his cider.
Yeah, and I will say too, while we're talking about the ciders, one thing is that we don't filter cider afterwards. Like I'm not filtering the whole batch of cider.
No, this is like for back
just
sweetening.
Specifically for
I think that was brilliant. Yeah.
And I feel like then also you don't have to wait for it to settle out necessarily. It's already clear because the cider was as clear as it is now at 12 months.
Clarity is beautiful. It's a very light straw color. It's perfect clarity.
Another thing I will say is, as far as yeast and pitching yeast, we are pitching commercial yeast, and we do use what I would call minimal sulfites, maybe between 10 and 25 parts per million. One of the opinions, I guess, that I formed, actually from listening to one of your interviews with a French cider maker, was that they had said, which was a little tricky to understand, but I got the gist, I think. And it was great, was that when using wild fermentation, you should be pressing and getting into tank within 3 days of harvest. And for me, that is really tricky because of everything that we have going on here in the fall. I can't yet do that. So everything goes in that big walk-in that we went into, and it sits.
Yeah.
And for me, one of the things that I really enjoy about the fermentation process is really just taking the fruit and bringing out what it has to give me. And part of the problem with fermenting fruit that had been sitting, in my opinion, technically you're fermenting bacteria that's on there that is a totally different flavor profile. And it's just not something I personally enjoy. And so I'm not there yet, but I want to start doing wild fermentations when I'm ready. And I can allocate the time to really give it what it needs. Me and our friend Cedar at Wild Brand Cider were actually talking about this at market on Saturday, and because all of his is wild fermented, as you know. And so, but he's like, yeah, I'm done. I get in the fall, I press everything and it's done. It's great. Where me, I just finished like one of our last presses with a Porter's Perfection like a month ago. So
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. You know what's interesting about this too is we hear the term cider like wine, but this does not taste like wine. And I have had cider that has the overtures of that wine. It's a heavier feeling how it impacts my body. But I'm getting cider really quaffable and refined in a good way, not a clinical way at all. That little bit of like the acid in the back, it goes into the back of your mouth. It's forward, the sweetness is there, and you're tasting the apple, that really nice subtleness of the apple, but it doesn't give me that heavy wine that will kind of create this sigh in my body, and that's what I dig about it. You're creating a really fine product. It's a physical experience drinking cider.
Thank you.
And that's what I appreciate about it, because I've had a couple ciders recently from folks who are kind of in the wine category too, and it drinks like a wine. And it's not because it's high ABV. Wine has a certain kind of, you're out on a sunny day and you want to kind of take a nap a little bit. It could do that to you. Mm-hmm. And cider should be really thirst quenching. I want to pause with it. And that's pretty good for like a semi-sweet here, right?
Agreed.
Yeah, and you have a nice sweetness. The sweetness is really subtle too. Just enough to put me over, but not. Typically, I would resist wanting more, but man, I could drink that whole glass, and I will before I leave here.
There are plenty more to taste, but
okay. All right, I'll stop for you. No, I won't.
I just wanted to have some cheese.
Yeah, well, the cheese is delicious, and it doesn't necessarily go with the cider. I would say Vermont cheddar would be perfect with that.
I almost did that. It's funny you did that. Then I saw that one, and I was like,
But yummy.
I do love cheddar with cider, I will say.
Oh, you can't go wrong, typically.
No.
Especially if you're in Vermont.
Yeah.
Delicious. Let's talk about your barrel program.
Okay.
Because you have quite a few barrels back there, and you're using neutral oak barrels. You're sourcing from different locations. It looks like a couple different locations. Yeah. And primarily going for neutral barrels or all of those? Because you have some gin barrels.
Our barrel program kind of started for a number of reasons. One, just a functionality of storing liquid by the gallon. Barrels are relatively inexpensive, $50, $180 per 60 gallons. It's nice also on a batch size. It's 300 bottles. It just has a lot of positives in that sense. You can rack them, you can stack them, so you can go vertical and still store a good amount. Obviously, there's then also the aspects of some slow oxidation, and also for settling out the fines and the lees, it obviously works really well.
Do you leave the cider on the lees?
I like to rack more than I do. I usually get 2 to 3 racks in, but I would definitely be interested in doing more racking earlier on to be reducing my yeast counts. We're getting into secondary fermentation once it goes into the barrel. I am this year going to keep some in stainless though.
Okay.
But back to the barrels, so we're using either Midwest barrel or Northeast for sourcing on those barrels. And then Bar Hill Gin, or Caledonia Spirits, as you know, is in Montpelier now. They had reached out to us and a couple other cider makers about aging cider in their barrel. Eden, Eleanor does an aged one, so does Cedar as well. And they're then taking the barrels back and aging their gin in there, which is turning out really quite nice.
Wow.
The Tomcat aged cider, which we can obviously try as well on tap here, people either love it or they don't, right?
You gotta like gin?
You gotta like gin.
Yeah.
It's 10% alcohol.
Yeah, that's a high.
And that cider specifically, it's that high because of what we put in it. So those were sweated wine sap and golden russets for 4 months, then pressed. So that was going in at 9%. It really was a kicker.
And then the barrel let that extra.
Yeah, and so that aged in barrel and in regular barrels for a little bit, 2 months, and then it went into the Tomcat barrels. And it turned out great. There's some components that I wish I did differently, and some of that is what happens when you keg or bottle condition a barrel-aged cider. In my opinion, I don't like it so far.
You tell me what you do or don't like.
So with these ciders that are barrel-aged, I love it. It's fine. I do think that, and I will say this, that the ciders you're drinking are forced carbonated. And the reason why I actually like that is because the keg conditioning as well as bottle conditioning changes the product that you put in originally. because of that micro-fermentation. And so what I found with the Tomcat is some of those really subtle but sweet vanilla and like caramel notes that were coming out of that Tomcat barrel disappeared in the conditioning.
Yeah, I bet.
And it went a little more boozy. And they weren't nicely wrapped up in this beautiful sort of sweetness.
Well, 1% in a barrel where its birth is out of gin is really going to have a mega, especially all that surface area.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
that was my experience. So now I'm actually taking in the next, I should have done it like a couple weeks ago, but those barrels that you saw in there, I just got, and they're empty, the newest ones. I'm going to push back all the cider that I keg conditioned back into those barrels to get that sweetness back, because I don't like it.
Ooh, wow.
Which is going to be a pain. I want to get back those notes because, man, I mean, it was on point. And we'll taste that in a minute. It's definitely something you should taste later because it's a lot on the palate.
And I love gin, so that's not a problem for me.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. How much do you like malolactic fermentation?
So,
Which
yes and no.
often happen when you're doing barrel aged ciders.
And I do think some of these have some of that going on.
Yeah, that creaminess and that volume 1 is definitely there. But it's,
and there's been some conversations with other cider makers, like, is it diacetyl? Is it not? I think it's more on the side of malolactic personally in these.
I would agree. This volume 1, I'm getting a little bit of the buttery, but no, that's not what it is. It's not diacetyl. I don't think it is, but.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, some cider enthusiasts and drinkers a little bit of diacetyl is okay in beer and cider. I mean, it's across the board in different things. And, but yeah, so in some cases, this is sitting on the lees for quite a while. And so that is common to occur. I'm not really practicing any like botanage or lees management in that sense. But
you don't have time now, but I imagine you will eventually. I think you'd have a blast with it.
So the second one here, if you wanted, is a dry cider, 7.6%. These are Golden Russet, Kingston Black, Northern Spy, and some wine sap. Also barrel aged for 8 months, 10 months. We sell quite a lot of that. That's mostly what's on tap actually on at our bars that we're selling to right now. Everybody will kind of have the same one, and then they'll go through another one.
I don't get as much on the nose out of this one, the volume 2. Yeah. But on the palate, that Kingston Black is really coming through here. It's certainly showing that it's a significant apple. I don't know how much of the blend is in there, but it always kind of adds in a little bit.
It was on the lighter side of that. This is a lot of Golden Russet, Wine Sap, and Northern Spy.
And Wine Sap, is interesting as a very kind of like floral type of apple.
It's pretty cool.
So to blend it in with that's a really interesting blend, and I can see why it's really popular because it has a lot of complexity.
One of the things that I've learned with barrel aging is that really vibrant, high acid, high tannin apples perform really well in barrel. You get into the lighter apples, let's say like even some Liberties, or even maybe some lighter foraged apples that just don't have as much punch to them. I find that the barrel character can really overcome that, which kind of I felt happened with this first volume that we're drinking, which is why I was like tasting it and I was like, man, this really needs something, and we decided to do the back sweetening. However, with some higher acid apples and a little more tannin, I tasted it and I was like, all right, this still has something going on here. So that was kind of my big takeaway. And these are all 2023 ciders.
Yet again, perfect clarity in this glass. Off of the nose, it's more wood, not like classic oak. I get like green apple.
Oh, yeah?
A little green apple.
This is the best part about trying cider. Like,
I know,
with,
it's so
with
much
more
fun.
people, me and Cedar were just talking about that, like, if you get a bottle and everybody shares a little sip and then you talk about what you're smelling, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I didn't even think about that smell, and it's right there.
I get more of the barrel on it.
Oh, I agree.
I'm just thinking of figs now with goat cheese and a slice of apple. I could see this going really well with figs.
We can make that happen
Seriously,
for you.
I mean, a little bit of savory sweet would be a perfect pairing with this, which tells you a lot because that could handle that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not overwhelming. This isn't a tannin bomb at all. Really smooth, fine cider. Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
I wasn't quite sure what to expect, and now I see I should have gotten dressed up to come here.
No. No.
Seriously, man, these are good ciders.
It is really fun because we're the type of place where it's for dinner here or for whatever.
Yeah.
We kind of really like the idea of having this sort of experience where the quality of what you're getting is really elevated and really cared for in how it's grown and also how it's prepared. But you don't have to be fancy to enjoy it. Or
you could be.
Or you could be.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, certainly serving it in a glass, we're drinking out of wine glasses right now, allows you to get the aromatics coming off of that. And that's part of the fun, you know?
I will say, just typically as a side note, we serve in the tulips as a 12 ounce. But
I love tulip.
I do too.
Tulip glasses are great.
It's too much at once. Like, because I want to try more ciders.
Too much in the tulip glass.
So we'll do like half pours for people and stuff of that nature, but I do love tulip glass. I also just love wine glasses.
It's nice to have something that you can put your nose into, and that's what I'm enjoying. The tulip glass is perfect for that.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty. Cider could really be poured in any glass. I mean, that's a win-win no matter what. I'm not getting any kind of imperfections whatsoever. And that alone, considering like the length of time that you've been open and doing this, is really wonderful. Like, this is rock solid drinks.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
A lot of research.
Well, it shows, absolutely.
And drinking of cider.
And, hey.
What you like, right?
You got to drink a lot of cider.
Yeah. Before going to the Basque Country, I had a ton of bottles of Basque cider here. And I'm not sure whether the bottling process or the shipping or whatever, or all of the above, it was nowhere near what I drank in the Basque Country. And obviously the experience and the culture and being there in the moment is a whole nother complexity to it. Yeah. However, even just like noticeable, like, whoa, that's a lot more VA than I was like noticing.
More VA here
in bottle.
Yeah.
And so we went to, I'm not going to pronounce it right, but
you went to a cidery.
We went to a cidery, and there's these 20,000 liter barrels, so 5,000 gallon barrels, and there's 20 of them or whatever. And we have the whole 9 yards, the cod omelet, the whole steak, the whole, everything. And we're getting the cider out of the barrels. And I mean, it was phenomenal. And it paired so well with the food. And I was, how are they doing it? You're just like, there's just cider all over the floor. Like, I don't get this. Like, what is going on here? And it was super rad. Then I'm coming back and I should open some more of these bottles. And then I'm like, oh no, that's not that good again. So
well, good that
not that it's not good. I shouldn't say that. It was good, but it's not what my palate wanted, So it was really interesting. It was the cider was so much smoother there, even though there was still some VA in the own Basque style of cider. It was just very different. I don't know how else to explain it, but
it's fresh. It's fresh.
Totally.
Yeah, and the traveling, and you don't know how it's been traveling.
Right.
That's a big factor
Shipping,
that plays into
huge.
it.
Absolutely.
It's going what?
Temperature ranges. Yeah.
And to be a good cider maker, I think you need to drink a lot of cider. You could sip and spit, of course, as one would do responsibly, but also to just try different things and be open to it, and how your palate changes. And sometimes it's hard to get the blinders off.
The one that I'm drinking, that I poured myself a glass of to begin with, is my favorite, which is the third one, which you're about to try, which is it's barrel aged as well. It's a dry cider with Porter's Perfection, Ashmead Kernel, and a little bit of Empire. But all of that is mostly porters.
Oh, there's a lot going on there on that one. That's not your just like one-dimensional cider at all. I want to dive into that glass and bathe in it now.
Do you feel that has any weird notes just because it was the first pour out of the tap?
No, I don't.
Okay, cool.
No. Well, Porter's Perfection is just an amazing apple.
Porter's Perfection as an apple has a really obviously they all have distinct flavors, but it has a very distinct flavor that's like one of my favorites, and it just comes around with these caramel. And
the tannin is a lot more on the surface of my teeth here. We've upped the tannin level quite a bit. You have that astringency that's really, really nice. It's nice with the acid, and
it is about 7.8%.
Yeah, it's dropping out in the back of my mouth. It's dropping out. So you get it forward in your mouth, and then that airiness is just dropping. You sip, and then it disappears.
Yeah.
It's like, well, where did you go? And that's fine. I mean, I've tasted many ciders like that, but
why does it?
Why does it go like that? I think what we're always trying to do is capture the apple in the glass, right? And sometimes you could capture it, but it's very elusive. And it could kind of be like, you haven't caught me yet, you got to catch me. And sometimes we're just working too hard to do it and just not letting it be. And that doesn't make it not a fantastic cider by any means.
In some ways, this cider would benefit if it just had a hair of residual sugar in it. And technically, I think, like, I have this in a pet nat bottle, which I chilled for us too.
I'm going to see what the other apples that you have in here. What are they? It's
There's a little
Volume
bit
1, Volume 3.
Empire.
So Porter's Perfection, Ashmead, and Empire.
There's 6 bins of Porters, 3 bins of Ashmead, and 1 bin of Empire. And maybe the Empire watered it down a little bit.
I think yeah, but you know, this is a perfect cider to have with some of your pizza. This would be a really great.
I mean, for me, I enjoy it because of the tannins and the depth that has, and I really like that a lot. But I do feel like I'm excited for like some of the ones that we did in 24, where we have either a single varietal like our Kingston or the porters that I made just now, which is almost all porters, and a little Redfield in there, which I'm excited about. Wow, what an apple too. Redfields?
Redfield, yeah.
Whoa.
It's a beautiful apple.
It really is.
Yeah, it really lends for an amazing cider.
Yeah, as a single for sure as well, I could say. So I'm excited for some more of that. But
I think the Empire took a little away from your Kingston and your Ashmead's kernel. I wonder if you just did those two. That would have done it.
We can taste in a little bit, but I have Annette and Ashmead, and I did 2 different batches with 2 different percentages of blends.
Okay.
One's 2/3 Davenette and a third Ashmead, and one's the opposite. And it's kind of interesting.
Do you know what I'm talking about here?
Yeah, where it's leaving.
Yeah, it's leaving.
One of my favorite things about, well, drinking cider or wine is when you start to get those long moments on the palate, it's really cool.
Yeah.
And it gives you time to kind of like analyze what you're what you're tasting. And not that you can't have that with this, but I see where you're saying like it disappears.
It does.
It dissipates at the end.
Yeah, you're a little off the cliff there.
Yeah.
But because there's that hole there, you're like, I have to have more. Because you're on the quest to find more, you know. That is
not a bad thing.
Some people might do that on purpose, you know. I mean, seriously, and it would be.
I'm not sure I'm skilled enough to do that on purpose yet, but
right. But
I get you.
Hey, now you know.
Yeah.
Maybe the Empire, you know, depending on the water content that year and all that. That is not unusual for a cider.
Yep.
You know, you've tasted many like that.
And we work, you know, with 3-4 different local orchards in Vermont. And so sometimes they're like, hey, I got this extra bin of Empire.
Yeah.
Do you want it?
Yeah.
You know. But anyhow, do you think you want to try the Tomcat? We also do a house graph. So half cider, half beer.
Yeah. I would probably try that before I do the Tomcat.
I would agree with that statement.
Yeah.
So I will pour your glass in.
I want to do a little mixing here, if you don't mind, okay? I want to just kind of see. I'm going to go this way.
I do that often.
Okay. Well, I'm just kind of curious what we're going to have here.
Yeah, you don't need much. It's great. Honestly, I think it's great.
Yeah, that little bit of sweetness, but you still have that. It's because the tannin just stopped in the forward part of the mouth.
Right.
That's why you're not getting it all the way through. And my palate's saying, God dang, where are you? You know, I want it all the way through. So I don't think sweetness is going to do it, no.
That's okay. So graph, that's from 2022. So 2022 is my first year making cider. And commercially, I should say. Barrel aged.
Oh, it smells great.
For like 2 years, a year and a half barrel aged. So that's made with our friends in Northfield, Good Measure Brewing. We take their Saison wort, blend it with our fresh cider, then ferment it in barrel. And that's with some wine saps and a little bit of golden russet as well. And then we're using their farmhouse yeast and a little bit of some champagne yeast as well. Okay. So a mixed ferment.
I love the nose right away. You're getting both the apple and the beer. That's a good graph.
I really like it too. We did 2 barrels of this, so we have 120 gallons. That was in 2022. We did a 2023 batch as well. I tried some different stuff It's not there yet for me, but this one definitely hits a spot.
The hops.
It's really low IBUs though. It's not. Because
I didn't figure it would be, but it's enough. They gotta carry it.
I gotta get some more.
And it's very right. It's very poppy.
People really do enjoy it. You know, we do have a beer from our friend on tap, a Kolsch from Ben Hill Brewery. They're over in Braintree, which is just over there.
I love Kolsch.
It's great. You're welcome to try it.
Yeah.
And but this is kind of an in-between for folks. And
I can see
a lot of folks obviously have no idea what it is. And they're like, what is a graph? And you're like, well, back in the day,
right. Yeah.
the apples didn't have any yan, and the proteins in the grains did, and the grains didn't have any yeast, so then they just mixed the two, voila, alcohol.
I love the temperature that you're serving it, well chilled. So I think that's really lending to it to make it really pop in your mouth.
5.6.
5.6, perfect ABV.
Yeah.
Very, very drinkable. And as you bring it to your nose, it's so pronounced. You're getting a number of different things. You're getting a little bit of the hop. You're getting a little bit of that Saison. I've used it in cider years back. And it really accentuates your apples. Well done.
I was happy with it for sure. We have a lot of it still, so it's great. It's not actually been on wholesale anywhere, so I think there's a couple places there and I put it on tap soon, but I haven't offered it up yet. So
it's light. It's not overwhelming to the palate, so you don't have that kind of tannic structure in that same way that would kind of make you slow down. No, that is super drinkable and refreshing, which is a perfect summer.
Nice decks and
oh man, I could see that on a day like today, which is super sunny. Yeah, beautiful. All right, what is this?
So then this is the barrel aged, or the Tomcat cider that was aged in Tomcat gin barrels for 6 months.
Wow, that nose. My goodness, okay. This is reminiscent. It brings me to the Netherlands. A little bit of a Jenever. Just the nose alone is telling you that there's something else going on there.
Wine sap and golden russets that were into that.
Yeah, that gin with the wine sap. You have that really strong flavored apple. Wine sap could really kick out a lot. And then with the gin, you feel like they're playing with each other. This is a cider that I haven't even sipped it yet, but I would probably spend about 10 minutes just smelling it before I want to sip it. It's just so interesting. The pronounced gin in there, the way it's playing with the apple. It feels a little bit like they're kind of battling it out, but it's pleasant. I like it. You know, This is something that I would bring out for like a special occasion to kind of.
Would you be open to a side-by-side comparison
of
this and the bottle conditioned version?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
I'm kind of curious where it's going to go here.
So
they're both the same ABV, right?
Same cider.
Okay. Don't say anything. Just let's drink it.
Cheers.
Totally different nose.
So this is forced carved.
It's a little bit like a ginger ale.
I think it tastes like shit. These are two different ciders.
I know.
Like,
I don't think that tastes like.
You can have a bottle and take it. I got 20 cases.
I think it's kind of. And what year is it?
That would have been 23, but aged. I mean,
Man, let that age a little bit more.
That's what Cedar said.
Yeah.
He was like, it's not funky.
It's not funky at all. What aren't you liking about it?
No, it doesn't have like.
This is like a beast. This is like, you said some people like it or don't like it.
Yeah,
right?
Some people are in love with that. And I do this in an 8-ounce pour. We have these smaller
I can imagine.
wine glasses.
This is more delicate. Is that your little book?
Now, if I can find any information in here, it's a different story.
A tiny little book. It's maybe about 5 inches by 3 inches wide and has lots of notes. I don't think this is bad. I'm not having the same kind of oof that you're having.
For me, I guess let me say this. I think that actually once it breathes a little bit, it comes around a little more.
Yeah, it just needs to get out of the bottle. You know, it's kind of like the baby just arrived. Let it kind of like get cleaned up and stuff. This is a good cider. I want you to hold back. Let it breathe a bit. Let it sit there a little bit. It's going to cool down a little. You're going to get more on the nose as it warms up.
I hear you. I haven't dumped it yet.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Don't.
There's 20 cases there. I'm not trying to dump it.
No, that is because also I could see like with food, some of the wild food pairings you could have with that.
Even the color, like you can tell.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's
Yeah.
just very, very different.
What aren't you liking about it?
There's some sweeter notes in this. And not sweeter in flavor, but like sweeter on my nose. I think of that vanilla.
Some people might not be able to handle that nose.
I know.
They'll be like,
It's a lot.
what's going on there? Is that off or on? And I have had this nose before because I've had different spirits. I've had gin.
Yeah.
So it's familiar to me.
Right.
I also love gin.
Most people that drink this here, like, love gin or
Yeah.
cocktails.
Right.
And so this is like up their alley.
Perfect. This is the more refined version.
That's a good argument.
I think that's great. And you have a little bit of residual sweetness in there. It may not be for your palate, but
That doesn't mean it's bad.
no, right.
Right.
And it's really different from what you're normally drinking. This is like, oh, look at me, I'm the
It's showing off.
I'm the gin,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm gonna like surprise you. This is really subtle. It's a lighter on the mouthfeel, and it feels like it's still happening in the bottle. I'm excited about that. A year from now, but even now, I would totally sell that freaking bottle right there. And I would encourage people to buy 2 bottles and have one now and open it a year later, because it's not going bad. It's not going to go down.
No, I mean, that alcohol content, it's not.
It can't.
Yeah.
And so
That is the nice thing about that, is that that'll keep for years because it's so high on the ABV.
You could have that 10 years from now. That
Yeah.
could be like an argolet that I had. Yeah, no doubt.
Well, you can have some.
Okay, good.
Now that you say it, sure, and it breathes a little bit,
Well, that's it.
it is better than the last time I drank it, I will say that.
One of the things I've learned during the podcast is I'll be recording and people pour stuff and never sip it right away, right? Let it, and also
you did that, yeah.
don't try to like define what just happened when it hits your mouth, because that's not fair either. Everything that
Yeah.
you've had that morning.
Right, true.
And when it comes out of a bottle, how long has it been sitting in that bottle for? Like, give it a break already. Give it a little bit of a time. I think that could be an award-winning cider.
No,
Why not?
I don't know.
Well, what is off on that? Nothing.
No. it's
Nothing's
clean.
off on it. And, the cool thing is that you did something really unique here. And you have the gin overture, but in this case, the gin is ruling this. The apple's ruling in
I
here.
do agree with that statement. It got softened.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting apple right in the first sip. I'm not getting apple in the
No,
first
you don't.
sip here.
You don't.
I love this because I love gin. I'll tell you right now, Kyle,
You like that one.
I'm impressed in that one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Because
That means a lot.
it's really holding its shape in the bottle, too. It's really clean. And because I know it's going to age well, that could be, maybe in like 2 years it might be in its prime, but super drinkable now.
It's probably like 6 months in a bottle.
Yeah. So think about that, like, what's 2025, 2027?
Yeah.
You have a nice,
fair.
like, I'm,
I get it. All right.
yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
You know the best part about cider making for me is it helps me improve my patience.
This is so true. It's so true.
I mean, I'm turning 40 this summer, and obviously still
awesome.
many life lessons to learn. But you would love my wife Betsy,
Yeah.
in all ways. But she's the
She's
chill
chill.
patient.
Good,
like,
good,
and I'm
good,
bouncing
good.
off the wall.
You want to try something else. Well, also, your palate might be such that you're looking for the big and the bold.
Sometimes.
Has
Yeah.
Betsy tried this?
Not in a while.
Yeah, you should
Yeah.
let her try that.
Yeah.
Just kind of see, because I'd be curious what she thinks about it.
Yeah.
This feels kind of heady, and like it is a cocktail thing, and I want to be with my little pool slippers on.
So like this is what I was talking about, making into a sort of vermouth and then making it into a Negroni with the gin and the Campari,
Yes, please.
right? Like in
Yeah.
barrel aging that.
Oh,
So because I don't
Yeah.
really want to have a full liquor bar here at all,
No.
but I think there's some really cool things that we could play
blend
with
it with, yeah.
to have people have the, we're going to be a vermouth bar. We want to have house vermouth,
Yeah.
which in Vermont, as you know, is not a thing.
No, it's not.
And I can't not do it now that I've experienced that in Spain. I'm like, there's no way. I have to do this. And so,
Yeah, I'm so glad you opened that bottle, because I want to make you think differently about that.
that's great. I'll take it. I have 3 more bottles that I had chilled. One is the Porter's Perfection Pet Nat of that, the volume 3.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be this one. In a pet
yes.
mat, not barrel aged.
All right. I'm curious about that one. I'm wondering, are we going to be on the abyss
Right.
or are we going to come off the cliff?
And the other one that I have is the Kingston Black single varietal from this year. It's young in that it got bottled.
Single varietal Kingston Black. Cool.
And I mean, it's young in that it got bottled in March. So it's still really young. We can also taste that just out of barrel, and you could take that bottle home and let it wait. It's up to you.
I don't mind tasting it out of the barrel. This is fun tasting all your ciders because it really gives me the breadth of what you're doing here, which is pretty outstanding.
Thank you.
I have an update from Kyle since I last saw him in May when I recorded this. And if you are listening to the podcast and it's right after it went live or it's July of 2025, you're in for a treat because they have 2 more ciders in the tasting room. I mean, definitely ask for that Tomcat. If you're like me and you love gin, it's going to freaking blow your mind. I would try all the ciders if you go there, right? That is the goal. I mean, if you're going to get to Brookfield, Vermont, which is right along the highway, but you kind of got to like sweep up alongside it a little bit because there's not a direct exit ramp, and you made it that far, set aside enough time to have some food and to sit back, chill out on the deck or whatever, and try all the ciders. But here's some 2 more that he has. He has an Ellis Bitter Rosé, has an addition of a little bit of cherry wine that they made there. And they also have a Liberty cider. So they were using the Liberty apple, and that was aged on white grape skins. So yummy, right? So you got a lot going on there. And I want to also say that he was referring to cedar a couple times, and that is Cedar Hand. He's of Wild Branch Cider. I have a link in the show notes to my episode with Cedar. That was on my last road trip up into Vermont. That was just a year or so ago. And I think it's episode 317. Absolutely adore him. And I want to say, I recently, after I came home from my Vermont, New York cider tour, I went back and went into my little collection. I pulled out the Ashmead's kernel that Cedar had given me 2 years ago. So it was 2 years ago I did that cider road trip. And it blew my mind. It was absolutely perfect. I had it with a little bit of lobster, and it blew. No, actually, I didn't have a lobster. I had it with sushi. That was another cider. I had it with some sushi, and it paired perfectly. So bravo. I'm really happy to hear that both Kyle and Cedar hang out and are able to be good friends with each other and, go through it, because that's what it's all about, is to be able to have somebody to like hammer out some of your ideas, do some tasting, and figure it out as you're going along, because we're all on the path to great cider. And these guys up there in Vermont, they're really doing it, along with all the other ones too. This is a state to definitely have as part of your destination. In the next episode coming up, we're going to be heading over to New York and talking to the folks at St. Lawrence Nursery. So we'll be switching from cider to, well, the plants that you need, or the trees that you need to make the good stuff. So that's going to be a lot of fun coming up on episode 466 of Cider Chat. And with that, I leave you here. This is Real Windcaller signing off for now. Looking forward to seeing you in Ciderville.
Strange apples, bitter sharp. Strange apples, juicy ripe. Bop, 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 ba-da-bum-doo-doo-da, bop, 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 ba-da-bum-doo-doo-da. Who wants a tannenbaum?
I want a tannenbaum.
Who wants to pull them down?
I'm gonna pull them down. Hey, 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 apples,
Bittersweet, strange apples, hanging high. Got them strange apples. Forget the pie. Strange apples, squeeze them tight. got them strange apples. Strange apples. Strange apples. Make them pop. Pop, 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 ba-da-doo-dee-da, pop, 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 ba-da-doo-dee-da.
Who wants a tannenbaum?
I want a tannenbaum.
Who wants to pull them down?
I'm gonna pull them down. Hey, 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 apples.
Come and see.
Plenty strange apples for you and me.
Strange apples. Strange apples. Strange apples.
Make them pop. Pop, pop, pop. Ba-da-doo-doo-da. Pop, pop, pop. Ba-da-doo-doo-da. Pop, pop, pop. Ba-da-doo-doo-da. Pop, pop, pop. Pop, 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 pop.
Yeehaw!